shall we? Let's just go like in love casually. Oh, it doesn't. Cool. Hi guys, welcome back to the Jake and Ollie podcast, episode 7. I actually just realised that because we're filming this on the same day, I don't have a different top on.
It's fine. I've still got my fleece on.
Welcome back to Jake and Ollie podcast. This is Careers Part 2, which will be me talking about my career. So I'm actually just going to leave this one to Ollie. And let him crack on.
This is good. This is exciting. I'm excited to do this because we've known each other for a long time, but really, we've never really actually spoken in much depth.
Not a lot of depth.
About your career and why you do it, why you do what you do. Jake's kindly printed off a very, I think he's made up some of these, but a very big CV. Of stuff, which is a little bit arrogant, but
no,
I'm joking.
I was just like, because there might be things that I wouldn't talk about that you would definitely want to know about.
But you're gonna tell me all of it.
The first thing Ollie picked up was native Essex accent. I thought
that was so funny.
Right,
it's like accent and dialect. Jake is a native Essex speaker, which couldn't be more on the money, if I'm being honest with you. So they've got that one right. But so. Take me back to when did you know, or when did you feel like you wanted to be a actor slash
musical theatre
performer
straight away. Let's start at the very beginning. Very good place. Okay, so I don't remember it. My mum tells me that she took me to see the Tweenies or Noddy. I can't remember. On stage.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be something else like Les Mis. She took me to Noddy.
And apparently I just turned around to her in the interval and said, I want to be on stage. So she was like, okay, cool. So then I started Stagecoach, which is a Saturday like theatre school sort of thing, where I would go from 2:30 till 5:30, and I would do an hour of singing, an hour of dancing, and an hour of acting. Went there, started to join those.
How old were you when you done this? Sorry.
5.
Oh wow, young.
5 or 6. Yeah, 5.
Okay.
So then started there. And started to go to like loads of Amdram things that I'd like met people through. That? Amdram is amateur dramatics, so it's like.
Don't say it's such a patronising.
No. I didn't mean like that.
Sorry. I'm a muggle.
No, I'm trying to speak clearly like an actor, so people can understand it. So amateur dramatics is just a group like a cricket team or a Sunday league football team that you pay to go to, and then you put on shows at the local theatre. So joined a couple of them, and just kept going Stagecoach, and did like little bits and bobs. Was part of the Stagecoach agency, where I booked like my first ever professional job, which was an extra on Trial and Retribution.
What's that?
Which was like a detective program, like back in the day. I remember turning up to set and they were like, we're going to paint your face. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we're going to like give you face paint as a tiger. And I was like, I don't want to get it done. Mum was like, oh, get it done because then you'll be on the telly. And I was like, all right. So I got that done. And then, what else did I do with them? I think I did Space Pirates with them, which was a CBeebies program, which was cool. Like we went up to...
How old are you at that point? Sorry. Just like young still, like
yeah, he's still young. Yeah. So did CBeebies went up north somewhere, but we made like a little trip of it. Went up, filmed in the day, and then we went to like a theme park, which was cool.
That's cool.
So then that was Stagecoach, and then I auditioned. So I did The King and I with a local theatre company.
I love The King and I.
Do you?
It's like one of my favourite
films.
films.
Oh my god!
That's the
out of everything.
It's got the little bold like kids, isn't it?
Yeah. Like... Which I was one of. That's who I played.
That is sick.
So then that company then did Oliver, and I was like, I'm going to audition. I was like, I'd love to do it, so I'm going to audition. So auditioned and got into so they did like the ensemble boys gang sort of thing in the afternoon. Then they had Oliver and Dodger in the evening. Did that, got into the show, and then I was like, right, I'm going to stay for Oliver and Dodger. For some stupid reason, at the big age of 7, I thought, I'm going to go for Dodger. Obviously, she just shouldn't have done that. So I went for both. Then got put into the Oliver group, and was getting through like the rounds and stuff. And then it got down to like the final round, and it was me and a lad. His name was Harry. I haven't spoken for years, but we got on so well. And he used to really get on with my mum and my nan, and against these other two. And we were both sat in this room, and me and Harry got called back in. And then I don't even remember them telling me. The next thing I remember was running to my mum. We just had McDonald's because it was a long day. So she was sat there with McDonald's on her lap. And I ran in and I just cried and ran at her, and we just had like this massive embrace, and I was like, I did it. So that was like my first massive like part, like played Oliver at the Cliffs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which was mad at like the big age of like 7.
The main part, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So then I did that, and
See, I didn't even know that.
yeah, but like that was early doors, and then this is still like before I've done it like professionally properly.
Does that not count as professionally being Oliver and no,
you don't get paid for it.
What?
It was just like, that's what I mean. It's like an amateur dramatics thing. So you just
so
so
that's still Amdram.
Yeah, still Amdram. So then what happened after that? Stayed at Stagecoach, and obviously then Oliver became like a really big show for me. And then, if I'm not mistaken, then they then brought out the I'd Do Anything show on BBC One to find the Nancy and the Oliver. I don't know if you ever watched that.
No, I've never seen that.
So it was going into the Theatre Royal Drury Lane in the West End, and I was like, I want to do it. Like, I missed a very big part out here. So when I played Oliver at the Cliffs, Cara Toynton, who played Dawn in EastEnders, came to watch it because she used to be part of that society. So then she came backstage to see me and Harry, and was like, I think you should audition for Sylvia Young's agency, which is a theatre school in London. You can go there Monday to Friday and do your training there and your educational studies, or you can just apply to be in their agency. And I just loved school, like playing football, like do all that sort of stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to audition for school, but I'll audition for that agency. Audition for that agency, was really lucky, got in, and then got an audition for Oliver in the West End, which I wasn't able to do on the show because you had to be 8 from like January the 1st, and I turned 8 in the April. So I wasn't allowed to apply because I hadn't turned 8 at that point.
Why?
Just the rules. It's just the rules. And then, I know it is what it is, but they were the rules. So I was gutted, and then got the audition, and then just went through the rounds and got into the show. So that was like first massive professional musical, like at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane.
Oliver in
the West End.
In the West End was the first professional one that you got paid for.
First musical, yeah, I think, yeah.
And you were 8. I thought you had to be 8
No,
to do this.
I was, yeah, so I was now in year 6.
So you got the part. You were old enough.
Yeah, so like this was like a year later. So I auditioned. The one that I wanted to go for, I wasn't 8. Then the show went out for like 6 months, and then I auditioned for the second cast and got in. And that was when I was in year 6.
Right, so you were then old enough at that time when you.
So I was probably auditioning in like year 5, and then got it for year 6.
Like at that age, like year 5, 6, you sound like a pretty ambitious, like pretty driven, 8, 9, 10-year-old,
10-year-old, yeah,
7-year-old, really. Like, I mean, at that time, for most people, you're just like. Playing like army soldiers with your mates.
But this is what I mean, like when people are like, how do you know that's what you wanted to do? And I'm like, all you got to do is listen to me talk about my career and my industry. Like, I'm so passionate about
young, and like to have
I've
that drive as a young kid.
All I've ever known.
I think it's quite unique, actually.
Yeah, 100%. So then that happened, and I remember walking onto this stage, right, little me, walking onto it's the biggest stage in the West End, and I think it's the deepest stage in the West End, so it goes back the furthest.
Yeah, I understand.
And I remember standing on it. I looked around. I was like,
as a
what
kid.
the hell? Like, what is going on? So I was in that for 14 months. So I did it.
God.
Yeah, I was in it for a while. So I did the first stint with Rowan Atkinson as Fagin, Mr. Bean. But I wasn't in Fagin's gang then. So I did the first 6 months as a chorus boy, ensemble boy. Then auditioned for Fagin's gang, got into Fagin's gang. The Fagin was then Omid Dajili, comedian, which was cool. Then I had little solo bits, which in year 6 to be have a little solo on the West End was cool. Literally was 3 lines, but I was like, that's still pretty cool. And then they asked me to stay on because of something that was happening with the cast change. So I then did it with Griff Rhys-Jones. From there, came out of that. Then auditioned to take it to Cyprus. Took it to Cyprus for a week. And so we all flew out to a big amphitheatre. Different cast, but same production. Obviously not the exact same production, but it was a production of Oliver, Cameron Mackintosh, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
I'm not going to.
And then...
Sorry, Cameron.
And then, so we rehearsed, and they flew us out to Cyprus for a week where you'd have tutoring in the morning, pool time in the afternoon, work in the evening, which was sweet. And then after that, auditions for Matilda came about.
Before we go on to that,
Okay.
because that's quite a big point in your career as an actor, right? It's from when you spoke to me about it, that sounds like a bit of a turning point.
Yeah.
A bit of a push forwards into the industry.
Yeah, that was the first big thing I did.
You'd done
and it was
some
then
amateur
stepping
productions.
stones. Yeah.
You'd then got your first professional job in the West End as Oliver.
No, not as Oliver, in Oliver.
In Oliver, but you'd done it as Oliver as an amateur. But to be on the West End at 8 years old is pretty.
I must have been 9.
It's pretty crazy. How did you, as a young kid, an 8-year-old, how did you find going through the performing, the auditioning, the whole thing as just a little? Do you think of it differently then as you do now?
Oh mate, yeah. I remember being in auditions.
I imagine
and it
being
was just,
really naive.
I don't remember the auditions it was so long ago. So I just remember I remember being recalled because they used to call you out in the room. It's this person's being recalled, blah blah blah. But other than that, I don't really remember the audition process. No. But I do remember even for shows and stuff, you were just an excited kid. And because you were passionate about it, you just loved it, and you made some great friends. I still have friends from Oliver that I still talk to now. So yeah,
So the nerves aren't really there as a kid, you mean?
They are. They definitely are. But not to...
You have that childish excitement about you that kind of just carries you through it.
Yeah, 100%. So then that happened. Then Oliver in Cyprus happened. Then auditions for Matilda came round, and Mum... So I was never allowed to pick up the phone to my agent. It had to go through your mum. Yeah. So Mum was like, "You've got an audition for Matilda. Do you want to go?" And I said no. I said, "What?" I don't. Yeah, I was like, "I don't want to go."
This is in the West End as well, isn't it, Matilda?
No, so it wasn't at first. It was up in Stratford upon Avon, which is where the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company, are. That's their home. I was like, "No, I don't want to do it." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, this was coming to the end of year 6, and I was like, just don't know, didn't." And she was like, "Just go." So I was like, "Fine, I'll go."
Why did you not want to
I
go?
don't know. I don't remember. I think I'm not too sure.
And you were part of this new agency at that point.
No, this was still Sylvia Young.
That's quite a famous thing, isn't it?
It is.
Sylvia Young.
Yeah, it's massive.
They got you that.
Yeah,
Matilda.
They got me Oliver.
Right. And Matilda.
And Matilda, yeah.
Yeah.
They were my agent until I was 16.
Okay.
So,
So you
auditioned. Went to the audition. And I remember the first round was we just sang. So we'd all stand round and they'd walk round and they'd listen to you sing, and then they'd be like, "Right, we're recalling blah 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 blah." They'd walk round, if I'm standing here, they'd walk round you as you're singing this song and just put their ear to your mouth, listen to you sing, and I remember
That's so weird.
It was crazy. And then I got recalled, and I walked out.
What does that mean?
You get through to the next round of auditions.
Right.
Second interview, if you like. So then Mum came out. Well, I went to Mum. She was like, "Was it good?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it." She was like, "So do you want to go home?" She was like, "If you get the first round and then you don't want to do it, then we can leave." And I was like, "I'm staying." I was like, "I loved it. It was sick." And I was like, "Okay." And then, obviously, got through some more rounds. And then I remember there was 4 of us boys up for Bruce. And then I remember sitting in the room, and we got up one by one, did our monologues. And then that was the process done. And then I obviously got the job, which I don't remember. I don't remember getting the job, but I do remember
a lot of this.
I remember getting it for the West End, but I don't remember getting it for Stratford. And then so we go into Stratford. Stratford was amazing. Like, we had 6 weeks rehearsals in London, in Clapham. And then we literally just moved our lives to Stratford for 3 months, which was crazy because I'd had a really bad experience with a chaperone who I stayed with in rehearsals sometimes. She wasn't very nice to me, and I got really homesick and stuff. And
so you had to, you without your parents, you had to stay in Stratford for the 3 months.
It wasn't 3 months constantly, but it was for a period of time.
But you had a chaperone, so someone who looks after you.
So this was while I was in rehearsals, that, yeah, chaperone. But because sometimes the journey was a bit much with hours, I'd stay at this person's house. And then I just didn't get on with her, and it was really horrible.
Was she just mean?
Yeah, and I didn't like her, and it just was horrid. But there was another chaperone who literally was like, "I've got you." And like, it was really bad to the point where I like passed out at a station once because I didn't want to go. I fell down the stairs.
Wait,
and this
what?
chaperone had to catch me. Yeah, it was crazy.
The bitch or...
No. The really nice one
The
was
nice
taking
one.
me because
The
I
other
was in a
one
state.
probably just let you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. And then, yeah, I got really homesick for it, and it was really bad. So I went up to Stratford, and we were teching, and I was like, I
What?
can't. We were tech rehearsals, so like for a week you'll do like a tech rehearsal, which depends on the show, but like it's where like you put the lights together,
Yeah.
the show just starts to come together. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, I really don't know if I can do this. So I remember being on the phone to my mum, and I was like, I'm going to quit the show.
Is that because of the
Yeah, because I
chaperone?
didn't like being away from home, because it was like, I hated it because
Yeah.
of the chaperone. So then the producer and the associate director sat me down, and they were like, "You sure this is the decision you want to do?" And the associate director said one thing to me that stuck me for the rest of my life, and he was like, Just imagine that feeling on your opening night when you walk down that front and you take the bow. Yeah, because when you bow, it's one of the most amazing feelings. I was like, right. I was like, I'm going to quit.
Oh, wow. So he said that, you imagined it, and you still went,
No,
I'm
so
gonna quit.
sorry, I'm not being very clear here. So I'd quit. They then sat me down, and then I changed my mind.
Right.
And the producers were really good. They then allowed... They had like, so the Royal Shakespeare Company had like different cottages and stuff and flats up there. They were like, "Listen, we've got one. It's not being used. So if you ever want your mum to come up, we'll just give her the key and you can stay with your mum for however amount of time is needed." So like,
That's pretty nice.
which was stunning, and I'm so grateful for them. And so because I played Bruce, I had to be on standby. So a lot of the kids would go home, and then Matilda, Bruce, Amanda, Thrip,
Stand by for what?
in case someone went off.
So you weren't like first in the role. You were like.
So
a
I was.
backup.
So there's 3 teams. So when you're a kid, you can't do all 8 shows a week. You have to have 3 teams of kids.
Oh, so you split it up between 3 kids.
Yeah. So like, kids would travel up, do their 3 shows, then go home. I'd travel up, do 3 shows, stay, be on standby for 3 shows, and then maybe go home, or even then, depends how the rota worked, the schedule worked. So then did that. Ended up falling in love with it. Like, it snowed when we were up there. I had so many people come up and watch it. It was like, and like playing Bruce as well. Like, that was I did the first ever performance as Bruce Bogtrotter.
Are we in the West End now?
Not yet.
No, sorry.
As in like, but like ever.
Yeah.
The first ever production of Matilda the musical. I did the first ever Bruce, and like that's so sick. So then, yeah, managed to get over all the hiccups of it, got through, and then they were like, right, okay, so you're going to, well, they just asked if you'd like to go and audition for the West End. So I was like, yeah, like 100%.
At this point, are you like, you're not going, oh, I don't want roles anymore. Are you fully committed at this point?
I'm there. I'll see you there. I'll see the date and the time I'm there. So we rocked up, but because we'd been in the show, they fast tracked us to the final round. So all we had to do was go in, we did a routine and we sang a song. And I remember it, I sang Fireflies by Owl City.
I used to fucking love that song.
And then I remember being at the beach and I was going to play, like I was playing out with my mates, meeting them all at the beach. Mum called me and no one was there yet. I was the early bird, shock horror. And then I was like, hello. She was like, you all right? And I was like, yeah. She was like, you've been offered Bruce. And I was like, right, okay. Like, it was an overcast day, it was windy.
With fireflies.
And I was like...
I'm sorry, but he went for the first ever West End Bruce, sung Fireflies and got the part.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, there is definitely a point, I mean, my memory is obviously bad, but there must have been a point where we had to sing the riff, which is the beginning of Revolting Children, which is a song.
Isn't that the...
Yeah.
That one. I mean...
Just like
that. Right,
so then,
I can do it again.
So then, yeah, so we must have done that because they wouldn't have just given us that role if they'd have had to have heard the rest. They definitely would have done that. Did that for... If I went into that year 8 and came out of it in that April of year 8. So I did it for like 8 months. Then my voice started to break. So then musical theatre goes out the window.
Is that a common thing for like young lads?
Yeah. Like that's it. Game over for a bit.
I mean, that riff in Matilda is ridiculously high, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the one that's like after. It's like
yeah. Revolting Children.
Yeah, yes, that's the one. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
So yeah, that was that, and then I was really lucky and branched over to film and TV. So I went for an audition for Call the Midwife, which was like my first big like TV thing from ever, and I went into the room, did my script. And then the director said, we're just going to do some improv. And I was like,
oh. You were like, years of park bench just
preparing. No, but mate, honestly, I genuinely think improv has only become something that I enjoy within the last few years. I hated improv, like with passion. I was like,
it's hard though.
I'm so bad at it. And I was like, this is rough. Did it. And then got the call to say, you've got the job. So I did that for 3 years.
Do you remember what it was? What you had to do? No.
Nah. I wish I did, but I don't.
It would have been funny.
Yeah, it would have. And then I did... so I did that for 3 years.
So Called a Midwife. That's
so
3 years.
So I did the first series. It was in the second episode. Then did the Christmas special. Then did episodes 2, 5 and 8 in the second series. Then did that Christmas special. And then did episode 1 of series 3. But I had to come out of it because I needed braces. So I got polio, and then no one really knows what happened to me.
You got what?
It was a disease back in that day. Polio.
You got polio?
Yeah. Not me personally, the character.
I was going to say, I was like, what do you mean back in the day?
So that was kind of like my way out. Not that I died in it.
Yeah, they killed you off. No. They killed you off with polio.
But then we had like... we had a... my last day I was supposed to have this really big scene, but because the filming changes all the time, they were like, we've had to cut the scene. And I was like, right. So then they let me go on for my last day and do the clippers. I don't even know what they're called. That's so bad of me. So like, you know, they go, lights, turning, camera, roll action. Over and action. And they let me do that for a scene, which was cool. And then
we've killed you off, but you can do the clapping.
I don't think I'm dead though, because in the books, when I like 20 years later or something, my character becomes Princess Diana's bodyguard.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That would have been... I mean, Call the Midwife hasn't gone that far, has it?
Not yet. Fingers
not
crossed.
Yet. Maybe though. Maybe they'll... That would make sense though, wouldn't it?
It'd be
right?
cool.
If
It'd be
were,
cool.
Like, record you.
It'd be cool. That'd be cool.
That'd be sick. You'd be a good bodyguard. It's called a midwife. You know, there's that. You showed me that clip a while ago where there's like a gang of you, and then you like one of you's like beating up some kid in the toilet.
No,
you've all got a suit on.
No, that was when I was like 17, 18.
Oh,
that's a lie. That's a lie. That was when I was like 19. That was when I was at college.
Oh, that's further on.
Yeah. This was just like I was young.
With Called a Midwife, how did you find like the difference from musical theatre going to TV?
It was a bit mad because actually I've told another lie. I was still in Matilda when I did Call the Midwife. Okay. So I did them both because Miranda, Helen, and Bryony came to see me in it. So they were like three of the leads. So Miranda Hart. Yeah.
She watched you in Matilda.
Yeah, she came to see me in Matilda. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So I did that alongside it, but yeah. Wait, what did you say? I've forgotten.
How did you find the difference between going from musical theatre to back to TV for the first time?
You, as a kid, it sounds so weird, but like, as a kid, you just go and act. Like, I don't remember.
That's a good thing though, right? Surely.
Yeah, and like my characters suited me, so I kind of just did like bounce and worked with it, and then, I don't really think there was like I'd rock up to Matilda and go, right, now I'm here, now I'm here. It was just a case of I was there and I did my job, so I just played that character.
So you really deep it too much as a kid?
No, not as a kid. Whereas now I do like my character research into things and I like actually go like prep it properly. Whereas like as a kid I don't, because you haven't trained and stuff, you don't really know that side to it.
You've had a lot more education now though, haven't you?
100%.
Whereas at that point as a kid, you actually haven't. Well, you have had training because you've done the AMRAN and... Amdram? Amdram?
Amateur Dramatics, yeah.
Amdram. And was it Sylvia Young?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah. So that was the agency.
Probably like just like shitting all over.
No, so they were Sylvia Young.
So you had a little bit of training, but obviously as a kid,
I didn't go to Sylvia Young though.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was just an agency. Yeah,
so
I did.
It's probably a bit more.
A lot of my training came from Oliver and Matilda.
Right.
As a kid, I feel like I learned so much on them jobs.
AMRAM is a gym thing, isn't it?
Oh, for God's sake.
Sorry, carry on.
So yeah, no, not really. And then finished Called Midwife. Came out of that.
That's an AMRAP.
Sorry. But obviously, like Matilda was a massive turning point for me personally, as we said in the last episode with school and stuff. Like when everyone came to see it.
Yeah, I went to go see that. It was amazing. It was probably one of the best musical theatre shows I've ever seen. The most memorable part, and I said this to you before.
You said it on the last pod.
Oh, did I?
The swing, yeah.
Yeah, I like that part. I'm not going to say it again.
So yeah, that was cool. And then I remember getting loads of stick for Called a Midwife at school. Massive stick.
Yeah, we touched
on that. Yeah, that was crazy. But I also I remember because obviously back in that day you had to have a bowl cut, didn't you?
That was. What do you mean? No, you had a bowl cut.
Yeah, I had not at school. Like from the era, I had a bowl cut because of Called a Midwife.
So you're saying you only had that atrocious bowl cut haircut because you Called a Midwife?
I used to they cut my hair on set.
But I swear, even after you'd finished Called a Midwife, you were still rocking around like that.
No, I wasn't. I had an awful.
It was just
slick back. It was rough. I've been through rough barnets.
Like David Beckham.
I had some bad times, but the bowl cut was and I just used to be like, yeah, it's for work, which a lot of people couldn't really say.
Didn't cut it.
At the age of 12. So yeah, then I finished Called a Midwife, and then I think my next big thing was Casualty. That was. I think I was 16. So went over to Wales, to the BBC. Just had a little one episoder where I had fallen out of a tree and I was in remission from cancer. And I had a blood clot.
That's funny.
And I still got it in my house. I have one of they made a prosthetic hand of mine to do the stunt with because I had to make my finger bleed or something. And release the blood clot. So I still have the hand. Well, there was two. There was one they used and then they were like, we can't give you that one in case we need to reshoot, but we'll give you the second one. So that's still sitting in my house, and sometimes at Halloween I'll just...
You're a bit older at the point of Casualty though.
16. I was 16 at Casualty.
Yeah, 16.
And then that was really cool. Met like
That was cool. I watched it on TV.
yeah.
It was weird. It's so weird.
It's so weird to watch yourself. Like I remember even like the
Do you
first.
find it cringy?
I think now I'd be critical, whereas as a kid I was like weird, but like that's me. Whereas now I sit there and I drill myself. I'd be like, don't like that, don't like that, don't like that.
But as a kid, you were a bit like, it's a little bit weird, but
yeah, but it's cool.
I think
honestly,
it's cool.
I remember when I'd done the first Christmas episode of Called Midwife, and my whole family was sat around my living room watching me on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
like that should be mad.
Definitely.
I was like, Christmas Day as well. Like, that's pretty sick. Everyone sits down to watch EastEnders Called Midwife, and I was like,
I'm sure like millions of people were doing exactly the same thing on Christmas Day.
Mad, which crazy.
When you actually deep it, you were in millions of people's living rooms on Christmas Day, which is actually crazy.
So sick.
Same with Casualty. Like millions of people watch Casualty on like 8 o'clock or whatever, whenever it's on.
Yeah, 100%. So
I remember it being so weird watching it.
Yeah, it was. And then so I hit 16. I think Casualty was the last thing I got through Sylvia Young. Because you had to leave there at 16, but they allowed some people to stay until they were 18. But I wasn't really getting much from them when I turned 16. So then I changed to a new agent. And then...
Who was that?
They were RKA Talent at the time. I don't think they're running anymore. So then I can't remember which agent this was with. That might have been Sylvia's. Anyway, I did like a Sky advert. It was my first advert. It was a radio advert. It was sick. I literally walked into this room and you have like all this headphone on. You walk into this soundproof room, walk in and you just say your line. And then I remember the first time I heard it was me and Mum were in the car. I was like, oh my God, it's the advert. And I said my bit and I was like, oh, wow.
What was the ad? Like, what was your bit? What did you have to do?
It was just like, it was a family that were deciding on what to watch. And I was like, no, I want to watch whatever it was. And yeah, I literally had like 2 lines. And I was like, great, fantastic, half hour, bish bash bosh. And then after that, I did the Tracy Ullman show, which is from a generation before us. Which then she did another one, which was like my first like adulty sort of theme thing. Like it was quite like not down and dirty, but like it was like
it was serious, like
no, but like I was allowed to sweat. Like,
right,
like so like, that was the first time do you know what I mean? So like it was like an adult thing. Then I went to college. So
you're talking like Italia Conti College.
Yeah, so I did my A-levels.
What was this show? The one you just mentioned?
The Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, what is that?
Comedy sketch show.
Just a comedy. How long did you do that for?
It was one episode. I was at a sketch. It was just a sketch on the show. So it was literally like a minute and a half.
So then when you went to Conti, were you with the same agency? Did
you had to drop your agent to go to college. So I then joined the Conti agency.
Okay.
And then...
That's pretty cool to have their own agency then.
Yeah. So then... Yeah, so auditioning for colleges and stuff was obviously like a process in itself, like coming out of A-levels and that. But like school for me...
Was that harder than like the Conti auditions? Was that harder than... Like,
well, yeah, like I had to do ballet and stuff and I don't do ballet. I've never done ballet.
Or was it more like broad then? On like all of the like disciplines?
So basically what you do is... So... I mean, obviously, because as we said, like I literally knew what I wanted to do forever, like since I was literally 5. So I knew what I wanted to do forever, and then GCSEs knew what to pick, A-levels then picked them, and then for your colleges you had to do. Some of them were like you have to choreograph your 2 contrasting dance pieces.
You had to choreograph it yourself,
which was. Stress, but
I remember seeing
I had people to help me.
Videos of this, or like seeing videos
I don't think
of you
I did post that. I
doing like practicing it in your kitchen and stuff.
Oh, maybe I'm not sure. I don't know why I'd have sent that about it.
But I have a vague memory of you pirouetting in your kitchen.
Oh yeah, they were funny ones when I was still at college, and I was like just joking about, and then I'd like fall over or something.
Say, how'd they accept him in there?
So yeah, had 2. You had to have 2 contrasting songs from like different eras and stuff, and 2 monologues, 1 contemporary and 1 like Shakespeare.
So it's the 3 singing, acting, dancing you had to do that.
And then you get there, so you do your... For Conti, I did 2 monologues, 2 songs, did my 2 dances, and then we had like a ballet and a jazz class, I believe. I think it was a long time ago, I don't remember. But then other classes you go to, and it was just like you'd sing your song, you'd do your acting, they'd give you a routine, and then you knew from there. But Conti was my first one. My first audition for college. It was in November, I believe. Went in, did it, and then was really lucky and got offered the scholarship.
What if you're just an actor and you just want to act? You don't really sing or dance. Can you still go to that?
But
college?
they're not looking. When you audition, they're not looking for a finished product. They're looking for someone who's got potential who can then.
But what if you're just
an
an amazing actor and shit at singing?
Then they'd probably take you.
Really?
Because they'd be like, we can nurture their singing and improve their acting. So, like, I know people who just came as dancers or just came as singers and just came as actors. They then became the triple threat. So got offered the scholarship, which was great, and it kind of put me at ease for the rest of my auditions because I was like, right, okay, I have somewhere, and I have somewhere I can afford.
So they paid for you to go there?
Yeah.
So a lot of the students at Italia Conti, they paid like a normal, like we'd all pay for university,
Yeah, so
they paid a student loan.
So the normal fee is $16,500 a year.
Wow, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It was 9,200 for me, to put it into perspective.
Yeah, so like it's a lot, and then you've got to pay your train travel every day, then you've got to pay your uniform, then you've got like all these other little things that come in. So yeah, I was really lucky to get that. Then auditioned for other places. Some didn't work out for me. It wasn't really for me.
Other colleges?
Yeah, I auditioned for like 5 or 6, which then just I didn't get offered, and some of them I was a bit like, you know, when you walk into that like the place whether it's for you or not anyway. Some of them was like no, some was like it was alright, but like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's how I look at it. So then I got offered somewhere else, but Conti just seemed to be the best one for me, like financially, and I kind of knew people that had been, and it is what it was. So then
Isn't
went to
one of like the biggest?
Yes, the longest run in
London. So it's a pretty good one to get a full scholarship to.
Yeah, which was cool. I think it started in 1911.
You smashed that then, really, didn't you?
Yeah,
those auditions to get like a full scholarship.
Yeah, I was buzzing. So then, I got the scholarship, went, and then just spent 3 years. I feel like that's where I really learned what I'm good at, and I think that's why I think college is good, because I was picking up jobs as a kid at school and stuff, but realistically, did I know the hard work and the research you should put into it as an actor? Not really. Was I just delivering lines that I thought that would be good to say it like this? Probably a little bit. Whereas now, I get a script and I dissect it. So I'll sit there and I'll pick bits out and be like, I can do this with it and this with it, and what does this mean, and stuff like that. So then, even with songs and stuff, like, you're acting through song lessons and stuff like that. Like, a song isn't just a song, like, it's a story through melody. But it is, essentially. And the melody improves your... So, yeah, and then, so my normal day at college was 9 till 6. And then if you were in, like, a company after, you'd go into... That would be from 7:30 till 9. So some days I'd be there from, like, 9 till 9. And then have to commute it. But I was lucky and had friends that would let me stay and stuff as well in London, so... so for 3 years, just grafted hard. And then with the agency, picked up that job, the Teddy Boy one, where I had like my first fight and stuff, which was cool. Like having to learn from...
What was that? Was it a programme?
Yeah, it was a film. It's called Brighton. It's on Amazon Prime. It's got Larry Lamb in it. It was a play and it got turned into a film. And yeah, I literally just have a scene where I was strolling as a teddy boy and just beat the lead up. But yeah, there's like so many other things as well that I did. One of the in my third year, you were supposed to do 2 musicals and a showcase for your agents. So we did the first one, which was Saturday.
Is this as a class?
Yeah, as a year. So all third years will do it. So you'll do... Oh, I'll go back to that. I'll come back to that. So in my first year, it was like my first year was rough for me because it was the year I lost my nan. So I lost my nan in the February of first year, and then we had like the show at the end of the year, summer show. I was so lucky. I got so many like roles in that. I was really buzzing. So you do like a section from different musicals, and I did the lead in American Idiot, and then we had an aerial number to rewrite the stars. And I told my mum it had been cut. So all my family turned up, and then like I did this, and that was the first time like I remember walking out, and I turned around, my mum was just sobbing, and she just grabbed me, and I was like, that was really like, it was so nice. All my family were like, that was one of the performances that we'll always like never forget.
Yeah, that was pretty. I've seen like videos of that. That was pretty insane.
Which was cool.
How hard was that to do? Like, because you imagine you got some pretty.
Well, it's
good,
crazy
like,
because you had to audition to be in the you had to audition to be in the aerial class, and didn't get in. And then I went and spoke to the teacher and I was like, I'd love to do this. Like, please. Like, please. She was like, fine, yeah, that's cool. So I went in. And then it was between me and a boy in third year who'd done aerial for like 4 years. And I got it. And I was like, what the hell? So then, then did that, which was cool. But yeah, I learned a lot from that. Like, I still teach aerial now. And I think I'd only do that because of what I learned. And then second year, I mean, same sort of thing as when I did.
Do you always have to do a big show at the end of the year?
At summer show, yeah. So you always do a summer show.
It's like a musical or
Yeah,
like
so
a
like it was
like a piece like you done for the aerial.
It's just like you just learn different sections of musicals, and you do like numbers with different choreographers coming in and doing different numbers and stuff.
So it's not always like a full musical.
No,
like
it's never a full musical until your third year.
Okay, with you.
And then also, wait, I've missed one bit out. So when I was 16, when I did Casualty, I also did a kids program, So Awkward, which was cool. But I did like loads of like little gigs then, so it was like 2 days filming or something like that.
Just a couple of episodes or something.
But when I did So Awkward and Casualty, it was like my first. When you're 16, you don't need a chaperone anymore. So I was in Manchester, and I was in Wales without a chaperone, like living my life, and I was like, this is cool.
Was
like,
your mum there?
No, I didn't have to have anyone there because I didn't.
Just on your own.
I didn't need a chaperone. So I'd get there, and then like I remember for Casualty, like me and the cast went out for a curry, like, and I was sitting there like I'm out for a curry with the cast. Casualty, like it was sick, and like that was because then I actually felt like a bit of an adult. So yeah, then second year happened, then third year happened. So I did Saturday Night Fever, and played Bobby C, which in the show he is like the lead's best friend. And I played it with Paul, who I can talk about in a bit, but he then so we were like best mates, so we didn't really have to act that we were best mates because we are best mates. So but Bobby ends up like going to him for advice about stuff because he's got his girlfriend pregnant, and she wants to like be married, but he doesn't want to because he doesn't know whether to have an abortion or get married and stuff. And in the end,
it's one extreme or the other.
But he doesn't want it because it's all very like it's religious, so they have to follow their religion for it. Anyway, then Bobby C ends up killing himself, so I had like this massive thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I sung Tragedy, which was like Bobby's song, which was sick.
That Tragedy.
And the feelings, but musical theatrified.
Is that's not from that musical though, is it that song?
It's a jukebox musical, so it's the Bee Gees music.
Right.
And then at the end, I was like climbing on top of a bridge. So the bridge was the audience, so I had a ladder that climbed up to the audience, and I was like on literally next to the audience on top of this thing, and everyone was like looking up at me, and then I just went boom, and just fell off the thing, and it was really cool. And then
what do you mean, like were you like on a rope or something?
So you had a ladder, and then anything for the art. Like some people who just ducked, but I was like, I'm jumping, so I just jumped off. And then
what did you land on?
The floor. It wasn't that high. It was like a ladder high. Probably like maybe just below the ceiling. It wasn't.
You just fully like
just jumped onto my feet.
Oh, onto your feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
not my head first.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like you'd done a full.
So then, So then that happened. Then was that? No, it wasn't. Second year was when I did my first professional Panto Contract. So I did that down in Camberley. Auditioned for that. Knew the choreographer. He was like more than welcome to audition, got it, stayed up in Camberley, which was sick, loved it. And I've actually done Camberley Theatre's Panto, so I did it my second year, my third year, and did it at Christmas last gone. So I've been there for 3 years, which is so cool, and they're all so lovely as well.
Was that like an ensemble part?
Yeah, it was ensemble. So I was an ensemble in that, and then like with the ensemble you get like little parts, so in Robin Hood I was a guard. So I had a few lines in that. And then last year just gone, Jack and the Beanstalk, I was the puppeteer for the Giant. So I was on like, I was on like 3 foot stilts, trousers, and then this big head would come down on top of me. It was 3 meters tall, this thing, right? And it weighed like 60 kg. So I'm walking on 3 foot stilts with 6 kg on top of me. It was mad. And then the arms were connected to like crutches. So I was like walking around. And when you got the hang of it, it was okay. Like, don't get me wrong, the first time I put it on, I was like... but then, so one night I'm walking on for the last scene, and the stilts were on a ski boot, right? So the ski boot has like this twisty thing that you tighten it up with. Tightened it up, and all of a sudden it popped, and I was like, and I went to step, and my foot's gone forward, and suddenly this giant's just gone, whee, and I'm in it.
Is anyone else on the stage at this point?
Yeah, the whole cast.
It's not swash them?
No, like, well, they just moved out of the way, but like, when I was walking, no one was really allowed in my way.
Right.
In case of that. So then
I can't believe
I just hit the deck, and...
in the middle of a show?
Yeah, and then the guy who played like the comedy guy in it, he was like, Blunder boy, are you okay? Are you okay? And he was like, and I was just laying there, and I didn't hurt myself at all because there was padding and stuff in it, but I was just sitting there like in slight shock that I'd actually fallen, but also found it really funny. And I'm just laying there like this, yeah. I'm just having a little giggle to myself. Next thing I know, everyone's rushed over, like the curtain's been pulled, the show's carried on. So like they pulled the front cloth over, and then like a few people who were like the important people in that scene went to like improvise. And then they pulled me out of it. Are you alright? Are you alive? And I was like, yeah, I'm grand. And like coming around with water bottles, like, oh my god, like, is he gonna pass out? I was like, sweet, I'm just gonna go get ready for the finale. So I was like stunning, like I was sweet with it.
Stumbled out of the costume.
And then I was like, I was actually really lucky to be fair, because like if I was close to the front of the audience and I'd fallen, like I'm in the audience, like that's gonna hurt. But I literally just, and you had a way of falling as well, so you had to bring your knees forward and then fall onto it, and it kind of, that, because the thing broke, that's kind of how it works. My knees went into like a hinge, and then you just kind of like come over. So yeah, did pantos, and then did the panto in third year after Saturday Night Fever. Then we rehearsed for showcase for agents, so like you audition for certain numbers in the show, you audition for like monologues, a song, stuff like that, but you're not allowed like loads of stuff because they have to showcase the whole year within an hour. So I had a feature part in a musical theatre number, a duologue, and then like a couple of other like we had a boys dance number, and then we had the opening and the ending, which everyone was in. So then did that, got agent interest from it, went to all my meetings for my agents, got an agent, signed with a new agent, and then we were supposed to do Seven Brides, Seven Brothers as our levers, like not levers, but like our second musical, and then lockdown hit. So then lockdown hit, and then yeah, I just was in a rut for ages, like I hate my life. Had to then get muggle jobs.
At like college, at like Italia Conti, do a lot of people get jobs whilst they go through, or are there some people that go through the whole of Italia Conti and not get a job?
There was a girl in my year who went into the West End in her second year. She basically finished her training in second year. She was in Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, it was good.
I don't think it was that good.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Oh, I do like it. And then another girl, one of my really good friends, she got into it in third year.
So they got really good jobs from Italia Conti. But is there anyone that is it quite common to get really good jobs when you go there through the school years, or are there some people that go through Italia Conti and just get nothing?
There are people that get nothing.
So it's not like everyone's.
But you're there to train. Jobs. You're not like you are there to get jobs, but especially for like the first year,
you're kind of training up, and then when you leave, you like find jobs.
Your third year is like, okay, right, you're at the end of your third year. You've just normally in a normal world, you've just done your second show, and that whole last term is like, right, casting director's like, brilliant. all these graduates start popping off, start going to all these auditions, and then people pick up jobs. Like the year before me, Sam Tutty, who now plays Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen, he got his job in like at the end of third year then.
Is there like scouts there, or like you
not at college? You get so basically you'll sign with your agent at the end of showcase, unless you like are getting.
I thought
stuff.
you were Italia Conti.
I was, yeah, but Sam didn't get Evan through them. He got it through his new agent after the showcase. So you can
after his third year.
Yeah, so you can get work from first to third year, which I did. Like I picked up that film and stuff, like little gigs here and there, and my friends got like big West End shows, and then at the end, like in the third year, a couple of my best mates got like massive shows like tours, West End, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, like our year had quite a few people working, and like the agent at the time, like I was getting down to like final rounds and stuff for different things. Then that just never fell into place, and then signed with my new agent. Then went into a bit of like, well, we went into lockdown. I was just like, it's all right, we'll be back in a couple of months.
But some people get nothing.
Some people get nothing.
It's a pretty brutal.
It's a rough industry.
It sounds pretty brutal.
It was like we were actually talking about it when I did like literally last week, and I was like, we were sitting there we're like, if you was to explain to someone the industry, they'd probably think you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing to yourself? Because essentially, you pick up a bit of work. You might pick up, as I've just done, you pick up a bit of work for 2 weeks, then you're back to your normal life, but then you don't know when that next job's coming. So why are you doing that to yourself? Like, why are you not wanting that regular income? And I'm like, because that's boring.
It's not what you want to be doing.
And I'd rather have that. Like, honestly, I cannot even describe to you how happy I was last week. Like, I came home, like, even today I went into work, and the woman who runs the dance school was like, "You seem so happy." I was like, it's because I am. Like, I've literally just come back from a job that I absolutely fell in love with and just had the best time. So then, I had to pick up like muggle jobs and stuff in lockdown.
So you left Conti, COVID hit. The arts was shut down at that point, wasn't it? Like theatres were shut down.
Done out, mate. And like, there was that thing that came about, and it was like, Fatima should retrain. I don't know if you remember it. And it was like people looking for other jobs because of lockdown, and it was like, Fatima needs to retrain, and she was a ballet dancer, and they were like, the arts is ruined, so she needs to retrain. There was this whole thing about like the whole industry being like, it was ongoing jokes. People were like, yeah, we just need to retrain, really, like as if like that's just something you do like that when you've given up and sacrificed so much. Like, oh, you know what, it's all right. We'll just retrain, and I'll just become an astronaut. Do you know what I mean? Like, right, it's that easy. Like, I've grafted since I was 5 to do this. I'm not just gonna go, do you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm actually just gonna. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid, but
you kind of had to, though, didn't you?
No, not retrain, but I just had to pick up other jobs. So I did pick up other jobs.
You had some shitters, right?
Oh, mate, yeah, I did Domino's delivery driving, which wasn't too bad. I made some good friends from there. I worked at Amazon. Right, that was rough. So I was on a really weird shift. So I was on from 4 a.m. till 8 a.m. So I was up at 2 a.m. In Tilbury, and it was like I literally, like, they give you special gloves because it hurts your hands. Yeah, so I'm sitting.
What hurts your hands?
I was literally just cutting open boxes all day. Well, I say all day for 4 hours, and I was like, it's just so demoralising. I'm sitting there like, this isn't for me. You weren't allowed to listen to music.
I mean, like to go from performing in the West End and doing all these amazing things to being in the cutting boxes and Amazon is demoralising.
It's criminal. Like, I was in the finals for West End shows, and then suddenly 2 months later, I'm sitting there going, beep, beep, beep. Like, it's so like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So then did that, and I was like, that was only a month's contract. So I was like, I'm seeing this out and I'm off. I was like, I just needed money at the time because this was when like, and I'd also left my teaching job at the time because they said to me, you can't enter the summer term and leave halfway through. And at that time, it looked really promising that I was going to get a job. So I was like, I'm going to have to leave. And then 2 weeks later, we went into lockdown. I was like, so now I'm jobless completely. So then I had to get like this job. Then went to Domino's, and then I went to a 9-to-5 call centre. Right. I have no words. I actually have no words. Like, I'm sitting there 9-to-5 in my room, which is demoralising anyway. Like, there's nothing motivating about getting up and going, I'm going to get out of bed and move a foot to this desk where this computer was to sit on a phone from 9 to 5 and listen to Dave from Liverpool have a go at me because his furniture hasn't turned up. I don't care, to be honest with you. Like, firstly, I was like, I don't get paid enough for this. I'm like, just getting shouted at down the phone. So I think I lasted 2 weeks, and I said to my manager, I was like, yeah, I'm off. He was like, oh, but you work really hard, like we want to keep you. And I was like, I don't think you understand. I hate this job. Like, I hate this job. And he was like, what if we take you off the phones and you just do emails? I was like,
sounds good.
You've got a deal. You've got a deal. Because this was perfect timing as well. The Euros had just kicked off. So I'm sitting there, right? I was like, right, I'll get up, and from 9 till 12, I'll smash some emails. Yeah. And I always set myself like a target of like 50 a day or something like that. So it looked at the end of the week like I'd done some work. And then, anyway, yeah, it would come round, and everyone was talking about Euros. It would come round, BBC One was on, and I was just, football time, brilliant, fantastic. And then
you could just do emails and watch it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then if like the England game been on before and we've all gone out, then I'd wake up literally a minute before needing to work, log on, brilliant. And if I didn't feel like it, if I was still like, it would like, come on the boys. I was like, just watch the telly for an hour.
He ain't getting his furniture.
I've got internet connections, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that was rough, but it kind of works in my favour just to supply me with a little bit of money for like, just to...
You're getting a full-time wage at that point, right? From a 9 to 5 job. So it's a bit more regular than Domino's and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't do it for long enough to be able to call it a full-time wage.
You didn't do it long enough to get paid?
No, like to call it a full-time wage.
Yeah, I
didn't earn a salary. Yeah. But like, yeah, it allowed me to like put some money in my savings for me to be like, right, okay, so when the world does reopen, if I'm in a bit of a struggle, like I've like at the time, like I didn't know when I'd be able to get back into teaching or stuff like that. So then it allowed me to have a little bit of breathing space.
Did it tell you that you didn't want a 9 to 5?
If anything, yeah, do you know what? I'm really grateful for it, because there are times that a lot of people go,
why don't you just go get a normal job?
Oh, which honestly, when someone says that to me, it winds me up.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, it wasn't. Oh, a normal job. That say that to a performer, and honestly, they want to kill you, because our jobs are normal.
By normal, I think people mean like performing is very like specialist, very niche. It's like not a lot of people do that. A normal job as in something that a mass amount of people do.
So is your job. And people would say that's a normal job.
Yeah, you probably. I think I understand what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But because people think that, oh yeah, he's a performer. He goes and just dances around the stage for a couple hours. Like there's so much more to it.
Do you reckon people? I find it hard to believe that people can actually think like that, because it's like, well, go on then. You go and do that, because.
But like even some of my mates, they still make jokes, and I'm like, if only you knew.
Yeah.
Only the graft. Like I'm 23 next week. Like the graft for 18 years of my life to be where I am. Like that's a long time. So yeah, I'm just like, please just shut up. Please just shut up, because this is a normal job. Okay, it might not seem like I get up and I work from 9 to 5 every day, but that doesn't mean. And it winds me up when people are like, oh, this is the one. It's like, so, like, when are you going to be in EastEnders? As if that's the only thing that is in this industry. Like, please, are you joking? Like, obviously, if someone offered me EastEnders, I'd be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, people are so like, are you in EastEnders or Coronation Street? No. All right, you failed.
Yeah, so you're not an actor.
So you're not an actor. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, it actually boils my blood. It winds me up so much. So yeah, like when everything came out about like lockdown and stuff, and we were all just be like, Christ alive. But yeah, so that all kind of like cemented for me that no matter what happens in my life, I would never not be able to work in this industry. Whether it be an actor, performer, a choreographer, director, backstage crew, I could not work in film, TV or theatre. Couldn't do it. Which sometimes has caused arguments like with family members and stuff, because they're like, but you need money, and I'm like, I'd rather be happy.
Yeah.
But then, like, don't get me wrong, like now, like sometimes, like, I think teaching is my saviour, to be honest with you, because I still am creative. I'm still like, able to get up, choreograph and stuff like that. And like it's quite inspiring sometimes teaching, like as we spoke about before, like when you have a kid that is like yes, and you're like bang, and like when a kid books a job, like I teach a kid who's just booked like Les Mis on the tour, and I'm like that's sick. So yeah, when I came out of that, I think that was summer 2021 was when like teaching started to reopen and stuff, and you were allowed in studios and that. So I got a few teaching jobs, and yeah, here I am now. Like,
then was your next big job then?
So my first proper job out of lockdown was my Christmas one, the one at Christmas. Jack and the Beanstalk, and then
there's another one after that, and then the Panto you've just done.
No, there was no. I didn't do a job
after Jack and the Beanstalk.
No. So I just went back to teaching, auditioned and stuff, but nothing came. But I switched agents at the beginning of this year as well. So my agent now was my agent at college, but she's now gone separate. So at college she worked with someone else. She doesn't work with them anymore, and now she's moved separately. So I've signed with her, and yeah, so just been auditioning and stuff, and then literally last week was playing buttons in a Cinderella Easter Panto, which was honestly one of the most incredible things. Like it was just so nice to be. It's the first time I think coming out of college that I've had like a lead, and I learned so much from it, because buttons isn't just a case of you learn a script, you go on and you act with the people opposite you. You walk on and it's like, "Hi gang!" I had to put it in. And you literally just talk to the audience, and you don't like. That's the thing with live theatre.
A lot more monologues and stuff like that.
Yeah, like my first thing was like a massive side of A4, like, and you have to remember your jokes, your punchlines, how to use your punchlines, stuff like that. And like for me, like even in rehearsals, I was like, I'm finding my feet with the words, but the reactions I'm gonna get, I don't know. And sometimes with them sort of characters, you have to think on your feet, because like if you walk out and the audience is dead, you've got to try and liven them up, or they might be like bang straight on you, and then you can then you've got to build upon each thing. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't just a case of learning my lines and going on and doing it. Each show was different for me, which is why I love theatre, because my job is never the same. No show I've ever done has been the same show. Never. It's been the same layout, but I can promise you it's never been the same. Things happen, things go wrong,
you fall over in a giant suit,
and you have to just get on with it. And sometimes when things go wrong, it's like, you get a bit of adrenaline from it, because you have to think on the spot. I remember, not the last Christmas Panto I did, but the one before that, before lockdown. On the last night, the dame went off ill, so one of the dancers had gone on as the dame. So then I wasn't in the number because I missed one of the rehearsals, because I had like auditions for something at college which I couldn't miss. So they learnt a routine which I then wasn't in the show. But then I had to learn the routine within half an hour, go on and do the routine. So like when something like that happens, it's like, right, bang, we're on. Like it's so, you just get this energy, and it's like, right, okay, brain switches on, and you just like bang, 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 you go and you do it, and it's all a bit of a blur. Which is like, well, that happens all the time. Like, I'll use him as an example. But so Paul, my best mate, was in Saturday Night Fever in the West End. So that was like cool for him, because he'd done it as his third year show, came back, and so he played Double J, and he was first cover Tony, who he played at college, and yeah, like he just had to go on as Tony. Like obviously as first cover you kind of start to learn the script and stuff, and you do have rehearsals and stuff, but because he went on so early in the run, they hadn't had like a cover rehearsal and had a cover run. He'd done like half of it, so he had to go in, just absorb his information, just go on and do it.
That's pretty insane.
Like as a lead, like a lead at his age, straight off the bat, like bang, done in the West End, amazing. And he's now about to play Kaniki in the West End as well, which was sick. He did the UK tour of Greece's Kaniki as well. So yeah, the kid's not stopped working. I'm so proud of him. Like he's absolutely smashing
crazy.
it. He's absolutely smashing it. But yeah, like, and college for me, I will shout them out. College for me, I made like the best friends ever. Like sometimes I didn't get on with the training and stuff. Like there was things I did want to do, didn't want to do, because like it's broad. Like there's classes that you don't want to go to because you don't find that class interesting, but sometimes you have to just firm it and just go. But yeah, I made some incredible friends from college, and my like best mates from college, like the boys, they are like, we'd still talk every day without fail. Like we don't really call ourselves best mates, we're like brothers, and like all our families like accept us as brothers. It's a really weird thing, and like, which is crazy because sometimes in that industry you're like, sometimes there's always a bit of jealousy or something like that, but
you're quite supportive of each other.
We're so supportive of each other, and also like sometimes we would never be up for the same thing because our cast abilities are different. So yeah, like that's one thing I'm super grateful for college for, is the friends I made. Like obviously I didn't just make friends with the boys, like I've got other best friends who I love to absolute bits.
Definitely. I feel like that a performing arts college is the sort of place where you would make really close friends, because
you can go one or two ways. You can either make enemies or you can make best mates.
It's quite like a highly charged environment, I'd imagine, a lot of the time, and you'd probably be like bonded quite closely with those people over like those experiences.
You see each other every day for 9 hours minimum, and yeah, like, but even on like contracts, like I was literally in this contract for the panel I just did for 2 weeks, right? And yeah, there's people there that you get with and you all become so close. Like we lived together for a week. Like, so it's a bit like Big Brother or Love Island, where you all get so close so quickly because you are living together. You don't really have a choice, but also because we're the same sort of people, we're all performers. Granted, there's sometimes people you meet on a contract you don't get on with, but the one I just did, I did not get on with anyone. And we had such a ball. And like, you leave it and you're like I think that's what's hard about going back to normal life. Yeah. Is like, you sit there and you've had this little family bubble for 2 weeks, and you're like, all right, I've got to go. I've got to go back to normal life. Back to normal life, which is a bit, it's a bit like, oh. But I'm still grateful for the opportunities I've got, like now back to auditioning and teaching and stuff. Like, I am grateful for teaching. Like, don't get me wrong, teaching stresses me out sometimes, but I'd rather do that than something else. But yeah, like, I've left contracts and made like some of the most incredible friends.
Can imagine. It must be one of the best jobs on the planet.
It is. I know it is the best job on the planet.
It is the best job on the planet, you'd say. I mean,
the buzz
it must
you get,
be such like an amazing experience, because I've been to the West End and watched many shows, and every time I think, wow, that must be like so good. Like, I look at those people on the stage and I think like they are like having the time of their life,
100%.
And it's their job, and to have such a job that you're so passionate about and have so much fun with it, and be in that bubble of, you're almost like on a working holiday.
But like, literally had this conversation last week. I sat there with one of my friends, and I was like, from Panto, we just sat there and we were talking, and I was like, you can't forget that it's your job, or not like as in like, I'm gonna go on and mess about. Like, you know that's your job. That's what you have to do. You have to like knuckle down, get your lines learned, go on and give your best. But like, there was not one point I woke up and thought, I can't believe I've got to do this today. Like, I get up and I'm like, yes, we're in. Like, like it's like I'm being paid to do my hobby, which is why like sometimes it's a bit like naff when you can't do it, because it's like, oh, but I just want to be paid to do that. But it is just like the most incredible thing, and like my family came out to see it, and it was like, even because they hadn't really seen me do anything like as a lead for a while, so I was like, and they all came out and were like, it was so good, like, and my granddad just got so involved as well, like he was loving it. And then like there was this scene which was a slosh scene, when a slosh scene is, there's different like comedy sketches, and like it's normally like shaving foam or whipped cream and stuff, and then everyone gets really dirty. So I was like a wallpaper one, and I was like loads of shaving foam, and I got like absolutely caked in it, like put it in my face and everything with the two ugly stepsisters, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So then I had to chase them around the auditorium. So as I chased them around the auditorium, I took the bucket of slosh with me, looked my mum dead in the eye and went bang, and just threw it at her. I was like, I've got to do it. So threw that at her. But yeah, like there's not one time I look at when I'm on a job and I think, I never look at it as work. Like, it's never work to me. As in, like, look, it is work, but like I never think like people go, can't believe I'm back to work tomorrow. Yeah. I'm like, I can't wait to go to work.
That's the dream, right?
Which, yeah, if you never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you do, and I do, and I'm very lucky. I mean, people are like, but you're not lucky, and I'm like, I am very lucky because sometimes in the industry, it is just what falls. Like, you do just have to wait and see what falls to your feet. But I have also worked bloody hard.
It sounds like a very up and down industry and up and down life to be in, but I think it has to be one of the most exciting and
it's one of the most rewarding industries, which is why we do it. Because you might struggle, might not get a job for 2-3 years, and then suddenly you might book this big job, and you're like, it was worth it.
Then it's the breakthrough, and then it carries on from that and that and that.
Exactly.
You've got to have a pretty strong mindset, I think, to do that sort of thing.
Because there's so many more knockbacks than there are.
Because you really don't know. Yes, you can plug away at doing auditions, but you don't know when one's going to land. But to keep going and auditioning for these things and just almost waiting and just hoping, being denied and told no, sorry, you're being told no, you're not good enough, really, aren't you? So no, you're not good enough for this part, or no, sorry, but this person's just got the edge over you. You hear that. You probably hear that hundreds of times. Which is crazy
because sometimes as well, there's nothing you can do about it. It might be whether you fit the costume, whether you fit the shoes.
Which is hard because really you're like, that's just
out
bullshit.
of your control. It's out of your control.
Just make a new costume. That's what I'd be saying. But, it's a pretty cutthroat industry.
It's mad cutthroat.
Don't work like that, does it?
But I wouldn't not do it.
Wouldn't change it for the world.
No, not at all. Not at all. So yeah, there's
great.
my career, and I hope you all enjoyed listening to that. If anyone has questions about either of our careers over the last 2 episodes, please send in some questions and stuff. We are going to finish on just a question that was sent in that we thought just suited this perfectly. What is your perception of success?
So I think I already answered this in the last one.
Yeah.
But my perception of success is when you experience success not when a certain result goes your way, but when you can look back at the things you've done and the lessons you've learned and how proud you are of what you've done, and say, I'm proud of who I am today, and carry yourself with that attitude and that energy. That for me is a success, when you can look back on your life and go, I'm proud I've done all of these things. And I think if you can do that, then you'll be very happy with the point you are at the end.
100%.
And that's where, for me, that's where my success is. Cool. And that's where I think success is. What would you say?
I would say, and this is relative to my industry, because I feel like it makes sense in my head. I'm going to compare it. So a lot of people have this thing that to have made it, you have to be in the West End. So to be successful, I can
understand.
But it's just because that's what everyone knows. But what about the tours and the local theatres and all this sort of stuff? Like, just them theatres in the West End doesn't make an industry. Obviously, if you're in there, incredible, but don't forget what else goes on around you. My perception of success is being able to sit there, look back on what you're doing, and go, either like, I've made it. You've got your goals. Like, if you have a goal, you sit there and you go, oh, I did it. Like, that's a really cool thing to do. Like, if you get that job, or like, for me, one of my biggest dreams is to have a family. It's not even to do with my industry. So success for me would be to be able to like financially support my family and my kids, hopefully. So like, if I can have a career that I love and I don't have to ever work a day in the life, you know what I mean? A day in my life, then to me that's what success is, and just enjoying life and not having to worry or anything like that.
In my mind, there isn't a day where you turn successful.
No.
You know, you're successsul today. I'm successful today. You know, you can start to be successful whenever you want. You can wake up tomorrow and go, you know, and start to reflect and go, do you know what? Look in the mirror and go, I'm successful, because you are.
Yeah.
Because everyone's successful. Everyone's had successes.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't go, oh, in 30 years' time, I'm going to be successful. You know,
definitely.
It's a mindset. Being successful is a mindset.
Yeah,
it's a way of thinking.
And people
don't just get it one day. it starts.
No, yeah,
now.
without a doubt. And I think some people get caught up in, to be successful, you have to be a millionaire, like
Yeah,
a billionaire,
stuff like that.
and I think that's complete.
You were
bollocks.
successful the day you the day you made that goal is when you became successful.
And if you can achieve that goal, amazing. But
That's
even if
the
it
bonus.
doesn't, you as you said, you'd have learned so much on that journey that is
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty cool to wrap it up. If you did listen to that and enjoyed what you think, if you've got any success stories that you think would be good to share, please send them
That
in.
would be good.
I'd really like to hear that. Your
This is
success
something
stories.
you're like proud of.
Yeah, something you're proud of, what you think is a
Lesson you
success,
learned.
or even if you feel like there's another thing that you think this is my perception of success. Because I don't think anyone's perception of success
Yeah.
would be the
That's
same.
a great question. The perception of success.
Yeah, it is.
I'd be interested to know what other people's opinions are because it might differ.
100%.
It might be like, well, goals are important, and if I don't achieve that goal, then I've not succeeded. So
Yeah, which
let us know what your opinion is.
Yeah, which I don't. Well, I think I understand why people would be like, I haven't succeeded if I haven't achieved that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you was to break it down and narrow it down to what you achieved on the way to that goal, it might have taken you somewhere else, which is then your new success point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I think that's a perfect way to finish off the episode. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble on.
I enjoyed that. That's good.
No, I'm glad you did. So yeah, that was episode 7. Or no, it might not be by the time it goes out. It might not be. Depends.
Might be 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
We'll see.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys.